be here and to share this amazing experience here in Miami. We have been seeing a lot of hot discussion and challenging cases, but always based in science and experience. That is a very important moment. Well, it's important to remember to everybody that the design of the trial aimed mainly to select patient in the late window using non-contrast CT and CTA without advanced imaging. We have observed that the odds ratio for functional outcome using this strategy was 2.5. So we did have a better functional outcome if we select patient using this strategy. However, we have also observed that there was an increase in mortality of patients, mainly in the elderly population. What we can translate from the science to reality is that for sure we are able to select patients in the late window using this strategy, in other words, a non-contrast CT plus CTA without advanced imaging, and we can offer a benefit for more patients in terms of independence. It's an important comment that you have just done, because what we have been observing in all the trials regarding mechanical thrombectomy and its impact on the outcome of patients, that whatever you do, it works. However, here in Resilient Extend and also in the primary study, we have notes that especially for the elderly population, the treatment effect is lower, and sometimes depends on the profile of the patient, it can even harm. So the reality of our countries is completely different. Mainly if you observe the late window patients, we cannot select them using advanced imaging because you don't have this technical platform available everywhere. It's an expensive approach. And lowering the cost, we can include more patients. But on the other hand, as I have just mentioned, we should be aware as well that it's not a magic wand. We don't touch and we solve all the problems. We have specific subgroups that do not benefit of the patient in our reality. For example, is it possible that the large core patients in our reality without an access for good rehabilitation, they may not improve? I'm not saying that you should not treat this patient, but perhaps we should shed some light in this population in developing country in order to understand better if the results of developed country is different for our reality. Brazil is a continental country, so we have different realities among this country. In rich states, we have more access to rehabilitation, but in my reality, 0% of patients, they have access to rehabilitation. So it's not fair just to try to increase the number of mechanical thrombectomy without thinking the entire line of care. That's why in my state, we have been working, me, Fabrizio, and Fernanda, to construct an structure that takes care of the patient after the discharge, focused specifically on rehabilitation. For sure, these results will change, and patients that in receiving just mechanical thrombectomy without rehabilitation, even though they had a good outcome most of the times, they will have a better outcome if they have an access to rehabilitation. So even though we are quite specialized and we are doing very, fancy techniques and developing a lot of technology applying to patients, we should always and also try to develop the rest of the line of care, because our goal is not to have beautiful results, but to ensure that the patient will be functional at the end of the day. I think the impact was not only in Brazil, but in all the countries that share the same reality of ours. As for example, Chile, you can use the data to press and to make pressure on the government to have an access for mechanical thrombectomy to all the citizens of your country. And we have done this. It takes a while, of course, because, you know, even though it's very powerful treatment effect, there is a cost. And it took us about 2 years to have it approved, and just now in December, we could translate science to reality. And since January, we have nowadays 20 centers that are authorized and certified by the government, and they can perform mechanical thrombectomy with reimbursement. So other countries may use the same results, because not only we have shown that in the primary resilient trial from 0 to 8 hours, that is effective, but also cost effective. In other words, we can save money if we invest in this kind of treatment. So, and besides, I'd just like, excuse me to interrupt you, but just to add one point regarding resilient extent, many operators and neurologists, they were a little bit reticent to select patients not using advanced neuroimaging, because if you look at the guidelines, they request this in order to provide the treatment for patients. But since we have this data, we have shown that the outcome, the good functional outcome for patients that underwent mechanical thrombectomy selected by conventional neuroimage was 2.5 better than the patient that did not receive, shows that we can use a cheaper technology and provide good outcomes. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure, and always count on us to develop science and help for our patients.